Welcome to IFAStories, where ancient wisdom meets modern storytelling. Step into the sacred world of Epha, the Yoruba spiritual system, where every tale carries the power of divination, destiny, and deep cultural insight. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of the Orishas, the divine forces guiding our paths, Orunmila, the Irunmoles, and many more. Each story is a bridge between the past and the present, weaving timeless lessons that inspire, enlighten, and transform. Embrace the wisdom, honor the tradition, and journey with us into the heart of Epha. Subscribe now and let the stories guide you.
To explore full Yoruba stories, Ifa teachings, and ancestral wisdom, visit our website, www.ifastories.com. Step into the sacred path for more resources and information.
Divination was made for the mask of Egún. When Egún was coming down from heaven, he had no food to eat. He went to a town called Egbo Ona, where there was a tree of life, Igi Akoko, or Ogbe. He held on to a tree that stood at the crossroads just before the entrance to the town and shouted, "Oohoo! Oohoo!" When his shouting reached the town, the people informed the Oba, king, that a man was shouting at the entrance of the town. As the cries continued, the Oba went out to see what was happening. When he arrived, he saw that the man had no clothes, only a mesh covering his face. The Oba asked him what was happening. Egún told the Oba that he must not allow anyone to look at him, and that he was only searching for his brother Oro. He added that he had come from heaven, and that when his brother Oro was traveling to earth, he had borrowed from him the only clothing he had been wearing. His brother had never returned those garments. The Oba replied that no one named Oro had ever been in his town. Since he had no name by which to call him, the Oba named him Ara Onú, the man from heaven, and begged him to help make the town prosperous and populous. Egún said that he must be given eko, akará, oshosho igbado, boiled corn, and palm wine, which were quickly brought. After eating, he promised to return in 3 months, and that before then there would be prosperity and population growth. During the 3 months that he was away from the town, a general epidemic occurred, causing the death of a great number of inhabitants. At the appointed time, he returned to the same place and shouted again, "Oohoo!" several times. The Oba went to see him and told him that instead of prosperity, there had been epidemic, death, and desolation in the town. Egún asked for the same offerings as before. After eating, he promised to return in 3 years and that the city would improve. Before his return, the town had become depopulated and the Oba had died. After 3 years, he returned to the same place and shouted again. The chiefs of the tribes decided that he must be killed, swearing that they would never again allow him to return alive. All the strong and healthy men of the town went to him with sticks in their hands to lynch him. When he realized what was about to happen, he conjured them to hold their hands up in the air and never lower the sticks and stakes with which they intended to attack him, because just as the praying mantis raises its hands to strike and never lowers them, so it would be with them. All their hands were pierced and frozen in the air. He asked them what had happened, and they told him of the misfortune that had befallen their town as a result of his visits. He laughed joyfully and asked them whether it was possible for anyone to kill air or water. He then revealed that there were 3 factors that were the cause of the town's problems. They had expelled 3 men, and unless these men returned, the town would never regain its prosperity. When they asked the names of those men, he replied that they were Otin Oguro Oju. He explained that Otin had gone to Alari, Oguro had gone to Alode, Oju had gone to Irete. He advised them to bring these men back without delay. Afterward, he conjured them again so that they could lower their hands. When they returned to the town, they went to consult Orunmila, and Ogbe appeared. Orunmila told them to search for Otin in the land of Sangpana, Oguro in the home of Egún, Oju in the land of the bees. Incidentally, these three places were considered no-go zones, places where mortals did not dare to set foot. Nevertheless, Orunmila advised them to make sacrifice with a he-goat, a she-goat, a pigeon, a piece of white cloth. The materials were quickly provided and the sacrifices were made. Orunmila invited his own wife, Akpatebi, and asked her to go with Ierosun in her hand to Alari to meet a woman named Keke, who was the base of Sangpana's power. Upon arriving in the town, she was to blow the powder into the air. After that, whatever she asked for would be granted. She was to ask Keke to leave for Egbo Ona, where she had been invited to become the Oba of the town. Then she was to ask where the house of Otin was and invite him to return home. Sangpana would not have allowed Otin to leave Alari while Keke remained in the town. Akpatebi did exactly as instructed. She flattered Keke so that she would leave Alari and go to Egbo Ona. As soon as she departed, Akpatebi went to Otin's house and asked him to return to Egbo Ona. Otin replied that since he had been expelled from the town and had left on his own feet, he would never return unless he was carried under someone's armpit. Akpatebi carried him under her arm and brought him back to Egbo Ona. Upon arrival, Orunmila gave her more Ierosun and sent her to Elode to invite Oguro to return home. She was told to blow the Ierosun in the town, which would cause Egún to fall asleep and clear her path to reach Oguro. She did everything as instructed. Oguro told her that he would only return on top of someone's head. She convinced one of her men to carry him back on his head. Finally, she performed the same feat in the land of the bees, where the Ierosun hypnotized the inhabitants while she secured the return of Oju. He insisted that he would return only if he were carried in the hands. This explains why. Bottles of alcoholic drinks are traditionally carried under the arms, palm wine containers are carried on the head, and calabashes of Oju are carried in the hands. Otin represented alcoholic extracts. Oguro was ordinary wine extracted from swamp palm trees. Oju was ordinary wine extracted from felled palm trees. All three had been banished from Egbo Ona when their consumption was prohibited by royal proclamation. This was the beginning of the town's problems. After the sacrifices were made, peace, tranquility, and prosperity returned to Egbo Ona. When this Odu appears in divination for a community, it must be advised that sacrifices be made so that those inhabitants who are in exile may return with prosperity. If it appears for an individual person, that person should be advised to serve their head and their father if deceased, or to gift a hat and other offerings, including hot drinks, if the father is still alive. When it appears in Ubodu, the person must be advised not to give away any clothing currently in use,